favorite video game franchises? Is it Mario, The Legend of Zelda? Maybe it's Pokemon. Now these games are awesome, and they've maintained a really consistently good formula from the very first game. Sure, there's a few hit or misses here and there, but as a whole, we love these games. In Mario, you jump a lot, The Legend of Zelda, you swing a sword, and in Pokemon, you abuse animals. Not every series has the same kind of success. Some games may have to release multiple titles before they get any kind of attention, such as Fire Emblem.
So Fire Emblem is a series that has, until recently, gone unnoticed by the vast majority. It wasn't until Fire Emblem Awakening, the most recent game on the Nintendo 3DS, came out that suddenly everybody was talking about this series. But man, I've always loved these games. They've got a pretty interesting history. The year is 2001, the year of Wikipedia and George W. Bush. But who cares? Because Nintendo's newest and greatest console, the GameCube, is on the market. And right alongside it comes Super Smash Bros. Melee, the next great game in its hit signature fighting franchise. And man, did this game do well. It sold over 7 million copies as the best-selling game on the GameCube, and is still considered by many fans to be the crowning moment of the Super Smash Bros. Series. And why wouldn't it be? It's got all your favorite characters. Mario, Link, Samus, but not Sonic though, because that was just a rumor. And of course, who could forget Marth and Roy? Wait a second, who are these anime freaks and what are they doing in my video games? You know, everybody else was obvious, like Mario's obviously from Mario. Where are these guys from? They look like they just walked straight out of obscure video game characters, the magazine. Oh, you know the one, page 56. And so a collective question mark comically appeared over the head of every person outside of Japan as to the identity of these strange newcomers. Well, it turns out they're from a series called Fire Emblem that had never been released out west, and had so far 5 games come out, with a 6th on the way. Go figure. It was a strategy role-playing game that had characters moving around on a tiled map to wage war against other units. It was kind of like chess, but with swords and more death. Speaking of death, that was one of the signature features of the series. So every character had names, backstories, personalities, and if any of them, and I mean any of them, fell in battle, they were dead for good. Combine this with great plots, especially for an early Nintendo game, deep strategic elements, and an amazing art style, and you've got the combination for a successful title. So you might be asking, Colin, why did this never come out west?
It's hard as balls!
Remember when I said you lose characters if they fall in battle? Well, that's a pretty common occurrence, and the whole having personality thing leads to a lot of restarts. Or having to train that one weird-looking dude you've ignored the whole game. You stay over there. So yeah, the game's really difficult, and if there's anything I've learned from Super Mario The Lost Levels, it's that Japan's pretty sure America's terrible at video games. And I mean, I'm not doing anything to change it, I'm awful.
So all this pretty much means that Marth and Roy are really weird additions to the Smash Bros. Franchise.
But unbeknownst to fans, Nintendo used Smash Bros. As a medium for diabolical purposes. Advertisement. Now, be honest with me, did any of you know who this guy was before the original Smash game? No? Any of you? You in the back? Why are you lying? Didn't your mom teach you better? Now sit down! But now everyone knows who Ness is and what Earthbound is, and that's definitely due in part to his inclusion in Smash. So essentially, Nintendo employed the same strategy in Melee with Marth and Roy, especially since the upcoming 6th game in the series, called Fire Emblem Fire Emblem The Binding Blade, which starred Roy. And so they used his inclusion to advertise the upcoming game. They were so obscure, in fact, that Nintendo considered cutting the characters entirely from the Western release. But then Nintendo was all like, whatever, and then just threw the game out to Western audiences.
What Nintendo didn't expect was for us to respond so positively to these characters. We want to know more about Marth and Roy. What game did they come from? And when can we get the chance to try it out ourselves? Well, eventually, we got our wish, and the 7th game in the series, titled only Fire Emblem upon its release, was finally sent to the West. Now, ever since then, every single Fire Emblem game has been translated. Well, almost all of them. However, there is a forgotten history for the Fire Emblem titles that were never released out west. Now, Being a big fan of the series, I figured maybe I should look back and try to understand what made the series that I love so much what it is today. So starting off, we're going to look at the very first game in the series, Fire Emblem and Koku Ryu to Hikari no Tsurugi. It's got pretty legs. Or more easily said, Fire Emblem, the Dark Dragon, and the Sword of Light.
Released for the Famicom on April 20th of 1990, this game starred everyone's favorite blue-haired pretty boy, Marth. Also, get used to the main characters having blue hair. It's kind of a thing in the series, but what kind of epic intro does the beginning of such an epic series hold for us? Oh, I see. You're not gonna wait to start with the broken English. Alright. At first, there are Dark Dragon, how was that pronounced? Okay, it's Falchion. Falchion Sword and Fire Emblem! Excuse me, Japanese lettering, I was reading that! Oh man, listen to that music. Even when it's 8-bit, it's super catchy. And see, this knight gets it. Dance, baby, dance. But alright, no more time to waste. Let's boot it up. Oh god, what's wrong with your face? I think you might have had a stroke or something. Yes. Oh my, you don't say. Yep, don't understand a word. But it doesn't matter because we're in the game now. Well, first off, here's our hero, Marth. Here's his love interest, Sheeta. Old wrinkle face here is Jagan. Over here we've got Doga, Gordon, and of course we can't forget about Cain and Abel. Maybe I shouldn't let them stand next to each other. Hey bro, what you sticking your tongue out at me for? Don't you got manners? Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna like Abel. But let's quit messing around. Time for the meat of the game. Time for war! Whoa, look at him go! I don't like it. I don't like the way he moves. Oh look, I can even make Marth steal money from a man with no eyeballs. Well, it's either that or visit this stoner's house. What even is a Fire Emblem? Once I finish moving all my units, then it's the enemy phase, and at that point the enemy gets a turn to attack my units. And they just look so happy to do it. He's got such a bounce in his step. And so it goes back and forth like this until either you eliminate the enemy units or, you know, you die. Which happens a lot. Oh no! It looks like this time Cain was the one who died. Although I'm pretty suspicious of Abel. I just don't trust that face. But that's okay. If there's anything I've learned from Chumbawamba, it's that when I get knocked down, I'm just gonna get right back up again. And after all, I've got like this much hit, that much sword, and whatever that means, shield. I think that's good at least. I like it when Marth gets a critical. He's all like, I have the power! And then he just slaps him across the face. Oh no, Marth, watch out! Oh no, he's fine. He dodged it with his face. Eventually, I'm able to recruit another character, and this guy's a healer. His name's Riff, and I kinda question his healing methods. Raise the roof! Okay, now all I have to do is beat the final boss and oh, Marth is dead. Well, when the main lord dies, that's game over. And this old dude comes out, he's all like, what the crap, dude? Well, I don't have to stand for it.
Now, I like this game and all, but it's a little, how do you say, dated? Maybe it'd be easier to play if it looked a little less like Butt. Thankfully, there's not just one, but 2 remakes of this game.
The first of which was on the Super Nintendo, called Mystery of the Emblem. This was actually the 3rd game in the series, and you can really tell by this point how polished the series is becoming. It has updated graphics, more distinguishable sprites, and mechanics that are vastly improved over the original. Now, it would have been cool enough if they had just remade the game like this, but the remake was only the first part of the game, with the second part being an entirely new continuation of the first game, which stands out as a great entry on its own, even without the remake.
This actually serves as a really great remake, but I'm gonna save talking about it for later. Instead, today we're gonna talk about the second remake, Shadow Dragon.
Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon is the 12th game in the series, and they pretty much use the same title as before, they just cut the sword out of it. Works, I guess. This game was actually the first chance Westerners had to experience a game with Marth as the hero. And let me tell you, I was excited! I had been pumped to play this game. I have played plenty of Fire Emblem games, but I hadn't had the chance to use the main lore of Fire Emblem before. So let's quit wasting time, let's check it out! Here the game presents us with two options. We can either choose normal mode or hard mode. Now, knowing my skill set, I think the choice is obvious. Hard mode, cause I live on the edge! Okay, not really, I'm terrible. Normal mode it is. Hey, they even added a prologue here that explains how you got where you are in the first game. The game starts with our hero Marth being woken up by an attack on his castle. From here we get a brief tutorial on moving, attacking, and generally kicking butt. So we cut through a bunch of soldiers that fight worse than a baby with no arms and legs to make our way to the throne room. There we meet up with our super hot sister. Listen, lady, you're making me have feelings that I'm not exactly comfortable with. Is it hot in here? I think it's hot in here. Marth runs off to save the day or whatever, and hot sister is all like, I must sacrifice myself because of reasons! And finally, now we have some allies, and it looks like Abel has returned. Meet again, you tool bag. You may have changed your face, but I still don't trust you. I also got this new guy named Frey, who for some reason wasn't in the original game. Move on to clear out the red shirt army, and boom, on to the next chapter. Wrinkleface comes to join, and I'm glad to see his physical therapy is going well. You look good, buddy. Kane's also here, and I'm glad I haven't killed him yet. Fighting with great strength of will, Marth and his allies push through the enemy line and make to escape. It is now the moment of truth, and they succeed in taking over a fortress and freeing Gordon. Gaggles, as this ruffian so kindly calls him, only to be told a dire message. One character must die! The enemy is quickly closing in, and we have no choice but to leave behind a decoy. You, as the player, have the choice of who shall remain. Should I pick the old knight far past his prime? Or maybe Frey, the knight who canonically dies at this point? The decision is difficult, and no matter the choice, there are major consequences. Unless you pick Abel, that guy's a jerk! See ya, Abel! From here, the game finished the tutorial, and we go into the first chapter that we remember from the original game. Now, obviously I'm gonna beat this level this time because I'm a pro, and I refuse to be made a fool of again. I should probably mention now that this game actually adds a few extra characters and chapters that weren't in the original. But most of these can only be unlocked by having let a certain number of your characters die, which is totally counter to how people normally play Fire Emblem, where the goal is usually trying to keep all of your teammates alive. I'm not gonna let that stop me though. I have a whole game to complete. I lost again. Screw it! I'm done!
Honestly, Shadow Dragon's probably the weakest Fire Emblem title. Whereas the third game added a whole lot of awesome content and really updated the game, this one, not so much. I mean, we went from graphics that look like this to this. Not to mention, it's missing a lot of the mechanics and the character interactions that we've really grown to love in this series. It's not really a bad game per se, just a subpar game as far as the Fire Emblem series goes. Now, if you can believe it, it actually gets better from here. So join us next time as we look at Fire Emblem Gaiden. I'll see you guys later. Actually, I'm not gonna go anywhere. This is my home. You guys can leave.
Hey, thanks for watching my video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you think down below in the comments, and maybe tell me what you think about the Fire Emblem games. Are you interested in learning more about them, or are you just thinking they're boring and you want to get to more talks about the Zelders? Seriously though, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. You guys take care.